Guys, before we even get into the episode, I need you to sit with one sentence for a second. Isaac Plath broke up with Kaylynn Brinkley, and then almost immediately wanted her back. Not weeks later, not after a long period of reflection, not after proving he had changed. Almost right away. And that timeline alone should make everybody pause. Because on the surface, this looks like a sweet reconciliation story. Isaac makes a mistake. Isaac realizes he made a mistake. Isaac comes back, apologizes, says he still loves her, and Kaylynn gives him another chance. That is the easy version of the story. That is the version reality TV wants us to feel for a few seconds before the music swells and everyone pretends the emotional damage has been handled. But that is not what is really happening here. This is not just a cute, he realized what he lost moment. This is a trust issue. This is a communication issue. And honestly, this is one of those storylines where the apology may be real, but the problem underneath it is still sitting right there, completely unresolved. Because the biggest question is not whether Isaac loves Kaylynn. I believe he does. The bigger question is whether Isaac is emotionally steady enough to be in the kind of relationship he says he wants. And that is where things get uncomfortable. Why did he panic in the first place? What was he actually scared of? Was he scared of Kaylynn? Was he scared of marriage? Was he scared because he has watched Ethan and Olivia go through a painful public breakdown? Was he looking at Micah and Veronica and thinking, this could be me? Or was he reacting to a much deeper fear that has been building inside the Plath family for years? And then there is Kaylynn's side. She clearly still loves him. She clearly wants to believe him. But did she take him back because Isaac truly proved something? Or did she take him back because she loves him so much that she is willing to give him another chance before he has actually earned it? That is the part viewers are going to fight about. Some people will say, he is young, he got scared, he made one mistake, and that is fair. But other people are going to say, no, this is a red flag. If someone can break up with you suddenly because they got overwhelmed, what happens the next time life gets serious? And that is also fair. So today, we are not just recapping Isaac and Kaylynn sitting in a truck and talking through their feelings. We are breaking down what this moment actually reveals about trust, fear, family influence, emotional maturity, and whether this relationship is really healing or just pressing pause on a bigger problem. Because this reconciliation may look sweet, but it is not solved. Now let's slow down and look at what actually happened. Isaac meets Kaylynn to talk after the breakup. He is nervous. She is guarded, and he tells her that after speaking with family members, they basically told him that, based on what he explained, it sounded like he probably should not have broken up with her. And I need to say this. That is a wild thing to admit on camera. He is basically saying, I made a decision so confusing that even my own family, who has seen every possible version of relationship chaos, looked at me and said, what exactly are you doing? That matters because it tells us Isaac was not standing firmly behind his breakup decision. He was already doubting himself almost immediately. And once other people reflected the situation back to him, he started realizing that maybe the problem was not Kaylynn. Maybe the problem was his own fear. But here is where Kaylynn deserves credit. She does not just melt because Isaac is apologizing. She does not instantly act like everything is fine because he looks sorry. She tells him very clearly that there are trust issues now, and that trust is not something he gets back just because he says the right words. Trust has to be earned through actions. That line is the center of this whole storyline, because anybody can apologize when they regret the outcome. Anybody can come back after they feel the loss. Anybody can say, I made a mistake. But rebuilding trust is different. Trust is not rebuilt in one emotional conversation. Trust is rebuilt in the boring, repeated moments after the apology, when the cameras are not making the scene feel dramatic. And that is where Isaac has the real work ahead of him. Now, according to what Isaac has explained, he felt like the relationship was moving too fast. He felt young. He kept bringing up the fact that Kaylynn is older than him. He worried about marriage and whether she might want things sooner than he was ready for. And he also connected his fear to what he has seen in his family, especially with Ethan and Olivia, and Micah and Veronica. On paper, that sounds understandable. Isaac is young. He has watched people close to him go through major relationship struggles. He has seen marriage become painful. He has seen love turn into conflict. So yes, it makes sense that part of him might associate serious commitment with danger. But understanding why someone panicked does not mean the way they handled it was healthy. That is the difference. The red flag is not that Isaac had fear. Everybody has fear in relationships. The red flag is what he did with that fear. Instead of talking to Kaylynn and saying, "I am scared about how fast this is moving," he ended the relationship. Instead of asking questions, he made assumptions. Instead of communicating before the damage happened, he communicated after the damage was already done. That is not a small thing. Because once someone has shown you that their first instinct under pressure is to run, you cannot unsee that. You may forgive it, you may understand it, you may even love them through it, but you do not forget it. And Kaylynn does not look like she forgot it. That is what makes her reaction so important. She is not cruel. She is not dramatic. She is not punishing him for the sake of punishing him. But she is also not pretending that his apology magically puts the relationship back where it was. That is maturity. And honestly, in a reality TV scene, maturity is basically a rare, endangered species. Somebody should protect it. Now let's get into the contradiction that drives this whole storyline. Isaac tells Kaylynn he does not want anybody else. He says the thought of building something with someone else makes him sick. He wants another chance. He wants to make it right. He sounds sincere. But a few days before that, he was the one who broke up with her. So which Isaac are we supposed to believe? The Isaac who ended it? Or the Isaac who says he cannot imagine being without her? The uncomfortable answer is both. That is what makes this messy. I do not think Isaac is lying when he says he loves Kaylynn. I do not think he is faking the regret. I think his feelings are probably real, but his decision-making is unstable. And those are two different things. A person can love you deeply and still hurt you because they do not know how to handle fear. A person can want a future with you and still sabotage the relationship when that future starts feeling too real. A person can be sincere in an apology and still not yet have the emotional tools to prevent the same mistake from happening again. That is the real issue here. Love is not the question. Steadiness is the question. Can Isaac sit with discomfort without blowing up the relationship? Can he communicate fear before it becomes a decision? Can he separate what is actually happening with Kaylynn from what he is afraid might happen because of other relationships around him? Because right now, it looks like Isaac reacted less to Kaylynn herself and more to the story he created in his own head. And that is dangerous. Kaylynn asks him if he thought she wanted marriage right away. And his answer shows that he had built up this fear around her age, her possible timeline, and what she might want from him. But Kaylynn pushes back and says she never pressured him about marriage. That moment is huge, because it means Isaac was not responding to an actual demand from Kaylynn. He was responding to an assumption. He imagined a future where she might want something he was not ready for, then treated that imagined future like it was already a real problem. That is projection. And projection can destroy relationships. Because now Kaylynn is dealing with the consequences of a fear she did not create. She did not demand marriage. She did not force the timeline. She did not say, "You need to marry me immediately." But Isaac still acted like the relationship was moving toward pressure, and he responded by ending it. That is why this reconciliation cannot be treated like a simple apology. The breakup was not based on a clear conflict between them. It was based on Isaac's fear, his assumptions, and the emotional baggage he brought into the relationship from everything around him. And if he does not learn how to separate those things, this same pattern can happen again. Maybe not about marriage next time. Maybe next time it is about moving, or family opinions, or money, or commitment, or public pressure. The topic can change, but the pattern stays the same. Fear builds. Isaac panics. Isaac runs. Kaylynn gets hurt. That is what has to be broken. Now let's talk about the family influence, because this part is not just background noise. It is a major piece of the story. Isaac is not dating in a vacuum. He is a Plath. That means his understanding of relationships has been shaped by a very specific family environment. Strict upbringing, religious expectations, family conflict, divorce, public criticism, and years of relationship problems being turned into television storylines. That is not exactly a peaceful classroom for learning emotional maturity. So when Isaac says he was scared because of what he has seen with Ethan and Olivia, and with Micah and Veronica, I believe him. That fear makes sense. If you watch people close to you struggle in love, especially people you admire or grew up around, it can change the way you see commitment. Serious relationships can start to look less like safety and more like risk. Marriage can start to look less like partnership and more like a trap. Even a good relationship can start feeling dangerous if your brain keeps comparing it to every bad ending you have witnessed. That is why Isaac's fear is understandable. But again, understandable does not mean acceptable. The problem is not that he was scared. The problem is that he let fear make a decision for both of them. And that is where Kaylynn has every right to be cautious. Because from her point of view, she now knows that Isaac can be influenced by outside examples and outside voices. He can look at someone else's relationship disaster and start applying that fear to his own relationship with her. That would make anyone nervous. Imagine being Kaylynn in that moment. You are sitting across from someone who says he loves you, who says he wants you, who says he made a mistake. But you also know he was willing to end the relationship because he got stuck in his head about things that had not even happened yet. That is a hard thing to trust again. And that is why her line about actions over words is so important. She is not saying, "Convince me harder." She is saying, "Show me over time." There is a big difference. Now, fans are going to be divided on this storyline, and honestly, that is what makes it such good commentary material. One group of fans will defend Isaac. They will say he is young, overwhelmed, and probably did not know how to process everything he was feeling. They will say he made a mistake, but at least he came back and owned it. They will point out that he did not blame Kaylynn. He did not make her the villain. He admitted he was confused, scared, and wrong. And that is a fair argument. Isaac does seem remorseful. He does seem like he understands he hurt her. He does not appear to be playing games on purpose. There is a difference between someone being cruel and someone being emotionally immature. But another group of fans is going to be much less forgiving. They are going to say Kaylynn took him back too quickly. They are going to say a sudden breakup is a serious warning sign. They are going to say if Isaac panics this early, what happens when the relationship faces an even bigger challenge? And that argument is also fair. Because a second chance should not become a free pass. If Isaac gets another chance, the relationship cannot just reset like nothing happened. He has to understand that he changed the emotional foundation. Before this, Kaylynn may have believed Isaac would stay and work things out. Now she knows there is at least a possibility that he will run when things feel serious. That changes the relationship. Even if she forgives him, even if she still loves him, even if they get back together, something has shifted. And that is what people need to understand about trust. Trust is not only about cheating. Trust is not only about lying. Trust is also about whether someone is emotionally reliable. Can I trust you not to disappear when things get hard? Can I trust you not to make a huge decision without talking to me? Can I trust you not to punish me for fears I did not create? Can I trust that your love will still be there when your anxiety gets loud? That is the level Kaylynn is dealing with now. And Isaac has to earn that back. Not with one apology. Not with one emotional truck conversation. Not with one promise that he will do better. He has to earn it through a pattern. Now let's talk about Kaylynn's position. Because I think she is actually the stronger person in this scene. She is hurt, but she is not chaotic. She is emotional, but she is not reckless. She wants him back, but she still has enough self-respect to tell him that things are different now. That is important. Some people may say, well, if she took him back, then she must be over it. No. That is not how real feelings work. You can give someone another chance and still be hurt. You can love someone and still be watching them carefully. You can say yes to trying again and still not fully trust them yet. That is not hypocrisy. That is honesty. Kaylynn's strongest moment is not forgiving him. Her strongest moment is making it clear that forgiveness does not erase accountability. That is the key. She basically tells him, I still care about you, but you do not get to break my trust and then expect instant comfort. You are going to have to show me that this will not happen again. And honestly, that is exactly what she should be saying. Because Isaac's apology may be sincere, but sincerity is only the beginning. The real test comes later, when the relationship feels serious again, when marriage comes up again, when family opinions get loud again, when work stress hits, when online comments or cast opinions start creating pressure. That is when we will know if Isaac has actually changed. Not in the soft apology scene, in the stressful moment after it. Now let's talk predictions, because this storyline does not feel finished. If Isaac and Kaylynn are going to make it, Isaac has to learn one thing immediately. Fear is not a decision maker. Fear can be information. Fear can tell you something needs to be discussed. Fear can tell you that you need to slow down. But fear should not be allowed to grab the steering wheel and drive the entire relationship off a cliff. That is what happened here. He felt fear and treated it like certainty. So the next time Isaac feels scared, he has to do something different. He has to talk before he acts. He has to ask Kaylynn what she actually wants instead of assuming. He has to say, I am feeling overwhelmed, instead of disappearing emotionally and then ending the relationship. That is the only way this pattern breaks. If he cannot do that, then this reconciliation is only temporary, because Kaylynn will eventually get tired of being emotionally whiplashed. Nobody wants to be in a relationship where they have to wonder whether the other person's panic is going to become tomorrow's breakup. That is exhausting. And if fans are already questioning whether she forgave him too quickly, imagine how they will react if Isaac struggles again later. The comment section will turn into a courtroom, naturally, because the internet has never met a relationship problem it could not prosecute within 3 minutes. But there is another possible outcome too. This could be a wake-up call for Isaac. Sometimes people do not understand the damage of their fear until they see the person they love actually hurt by it. Maybe this moment forces him to grow up. Maybe losing Kaylynn, even briefly, scared him enough to take communication seriously. Maybe he learns that being young does not excuse making sudden decisions that affect another person's heart. That is the hopeful version, and I do think it is possible. But it depends on what Isaac does next, not what he says next. That is the whole point. Words are easy in reconciliation scenes. Everybody knows what to say when they want someone back. I am sorry. I made a mistake. I will do better. I do not want anyone else. Those words matter, but they are not proof. Proof is consistency. Proof is staying calm when things get serious. Proof is asking questions instead of making assumptions. Proof is not letting other people's broken relationships convince you that yours is doomed. Proof is showing Kaylynn that she is safe with him emotionally, not just loved by him emotionally. Because again, love is not the same thing as safety. That may be the biggest lesson here. Isaac may love Kaylynn deeply, but if his love comes with sudden exits, panic decisions, and emotional instability, then Kaylynn still has to protect herself. And I think she knows that. That is why she is willing to try, but not willing to blindly trust. Now, the long-term implication for this couple is pretty simple. This breakup will become part of their relationship history. Even if they move forward, this moment will still be there. During future arguments, future doubts, future serious conversations, Kaylynn will remember that Isaac once got scared and left. And Isaac will have to live with the fact that he created that memory. That does not mean the relationship is doomed. But it does mean the relationship is different now. There is a before and after. Before, Kaylynn may have felt secure enough to assume Isaac would stay. After this, she may need proof. And that is fair. Because once trust is damaged, the person who caused the damage does not get to decide how quickly the other person heals. That is something Isaac has to understand. He can be sorry. He can be sincere. He can want to fix it. But Kaylynn gets to decide the pace of rebuilding, not Isaac. And if he really means what he says, he will not rush her. He will not guilt her. He will not act wounded because she needs reassurance. He will not expect one conversation to erase the impact of his decision. He will show up. Again and again. That is the only way this works. So when I look at Isaac and Kaylynn's reconciliation, I do not see a perfect love story. I see two people who care about each other, but one of them has just exposed a serious weakness in how he handles fear. Isaac's weakness is not that he does not love her. His weakness is that when love starts feeling serious, he may not know how to stay steady. And Kaylynn's challenge is not whether she can forgive him. Her challenge is whether she can forgive him without lowering her standards. That is the balance. Because giving someone another chance is not automatically weakness. Sometimes it is mature. Sometimes it is compassionate. Sometimes it is the right choice. But giving someone another chance only works if the second chance comes with clear expectations. And Kaylynn seems to understand that. She is not saying, everything is fine. She is saying, you have work to do. That is the healthiest part of this entire storyline. So where does this leave us? Isaac may genuinely love Kaylynn. I do not think that is the main debate. The real debate is whether he is ready for the kind of emotional responsibility that love requires. Because love is not just wanting someone when you miss them. Love is communicating when you are scared. Love is staying honest when the future feels heavy. Love is not punishing your partner for fears they did not create. Love is not running, regretting it, and hoping the apology gets you back to the starting line. That is not how trust works. And Kaylynn knows it. So now, the pressure is on Isaac. Not to make a big speech. Not to promise the world. Not to say he will do whatever it takes because that sounds nice on camera. The pressure is on him to be consistent. Quietly. Repeatedly. over time. That is not as dramatic as a breakup and reconciliation, but it is what actually matters. Because if Isaac can learn from this, then maybe this relationship comes out stronger. Maybe the breakup becomes the mistake that forced him to grow. Maybe Kaylynn's boundary becomes the thing that sets a healthier tone going forward. But if he does not learn from this, then this will not be a one-time mistake. It will be the first warning sign. And Kaylynn will eventually have to decide whether love is enough when trust keeps needing repairs. So now I want to know what you think. Did Kaylynn give Isaac a mature second chance because she saw real remorse? Or did she forgive him before he actually proved anything? And if someone broke up with you out of fear, then came back almost immediately saying they made a mistake, would you try again? Or would that trust already be broken?